Hi, hello, how are you? It's 10 a.m. here on Friday morning, June 7th, 2019, here in the Philippines. We're also on China time here. It's 10 p.m. in New York City on Thursday night, June 6th, 2019. Hope you're having a wonderful day, or hope you had a wonderful day, or hope you will have a wonderful day today. When this Love Buddy live discussion is about, let me look at the exact title here. It's about talking about love, which is kind of funny because that's what I do. So some people talk about love. And what is this idea? What am I getting at here? Well, some people are talkers and some people are doers. That's one thing that's implied. Some people are interested in thinking about and studying something. When I was teaching English in China, most Chinese students know grammar. The teachers know grammar better than any average American that I met, unless they're an English major, unless they make grammar their business, unless they study grammar specifically for years and years. The Chinese will study grammar specifically for years and years. However, they can't converse. They can't make a sentence. So that's something that I want to stay away from. I want to stay away from being intellectual about love, being theoretical about love, being too philosophical about love, but understanding love enough so that I can apply it in my life, share it with others, and be a loving person. So that's my objective with love, is not just to talk about it. I'm not here just to talk about it. I'm here also to practice it, to try to find a way to be a more loving person and to share that and to learn from other people. What's a way to be a loving person? How does that work? How can we be more loving to each other? And how can we bring more love to the world? Is that worthwhile? Is it worthwhile to discuss love, to understand love enough to be able to practice love and bring more love to the world? You know, we don't need to be an automotive engineer in order to drive a car. So if we plan on getting somewhere, we want to be productive regarding travel. We're going to study just enough. And then the rest of our study is going to be how to drive safely, the best route from this location to that location, and what have to do with the logistics of the application of the basics. We know this pedal stops the car. We know this steering wheel steers the car in a different direction. This starts the car. Here's how you start the car. And if you have some basic problems, here's how you troubleshoot them. Love can be the same way for all of us. We know the basics. Here's where love comes from. It comes from our hearts. It comes from inside us. It doesn't come from an ancient book. It doesn't come from a guru. It doesn't come from somebody who's got a fancy hat. We are all experts on love because we're all love machines. We can make love. So once we know that there isn't any single authority, there isn't any super love guy, that's where we learn to love, because that gets into dogma, right? But love is the obvious things about love. It's about compassion, forgiveness, kindness, respect, nurturing. And all of these apply to ourselves as equally as applied to the world. Because once you understand nurturing, if I know how to take care of myself, I'll know how to take care of others too. If I really understand nurturing. It's not a static thing. Love isn't a static thing where you write down a set of rules. Oh, these are our 10 commandments of love. And then we apply those all the same way to everybody all the time. As if we had no reason. Love is wide open in its application. Love is wide open in its understanding. And when we get to the point to where we're being dogmatic about love, to where we're being strict about love, where we're putting conditions on love, it's not love anymore, it's something else. So, is it worthwhile? Is it worthwhile to think about love, to talk about love, to try to understand love and try to share love? What are the problems that we're having in the world? And can love have any impact on solving those problems? Absolutely. One of the key things about love is it teaches us to love each other. It teaches us to respect each other. It teaches us to take care of each other. Right now, We don't do that very much. And I've been to some countries in the world where people will watch you die. People will watch you starve in the street while they go about their business saying, there's nothing I can do about it. As individuals, maybe there's not a lot we can do. But as communities, as people who automatically practice love, share love with their neighbors, build relationships with their neighbors and nurture each other, this automatically, when you're a loving person, when you have love as your foundation, if you're love-centered, you're automatically going to interact with your neighbors. You're automatically going to create partnerships, friendships, groups with your neighbors to where you're going to be tackling and dealing with local problems. And when you do that, you have some impact on the world. But because people are, in general, they don't understand this, they don't understand love, they don't practice love, they don't live love, they isolate. And they only think about survival. And it's really ridiculous because survival is about cooperating. Survival is about working together. Even the cavemen knew that it took a group of guys working together to kill a woolly mammoth, right? You couldn't just do it by yourself, you're going to get eaten. Well, this is what is happening with tyranny. For example, I know the US better because I lived there the longest. I don't live there anymore. I'm not interested in it. But I lived there the longest, so I understand kind of how the system works. And how the system works is the tyrants brainwash the foot soldiers in order to control the populace. And whether it comes to giving away the money that you earn, it's called taxes, to wasteful places, or if it comes to serving in the military to go attack another country, make more enemies around the world, or when it comes to obeying some arbitrary law, like marijuana for so many years, it's harmless, but people serving life prison sentences for that. So the tyrants got together, they made a group, they knew they had to cooperate. And what individuals don't know is the people need to get together as well. Individuals need to get together and cooperate. But when you get into politics, when you get into religion, when you get into racism, when you get into class warfare and things like that, people divide because they don't really understand how unimportant those things are and how important love is. And love is cooperating together with your neighbors, putting aside the petty differences, putting aside the irrelevant differences, because we all basically want the same thing. But you'd be surprised, well, you wouldn't be surprised because you're on Facebook too, but how many posts I see a day about somebody hating somebody because they're a different race and making some generalization, or complaining about the president or complaining about the leadership, when it's our own lack of unity, it's our own lack of being able to work together, it's our own lack of love that puts the tyrants in power, keeps the tyrants in power, and causes people to get beat up on the street for smoking pot or for riding a bicycle. I saw a video where a guy was riding a bicycle on the sidewalk and he shouldn't, and the police got violent with him. It beat him up. People getting shot all the time. There's this complete out of controlness about people cooperating together, people creating a sense of community, people knowing that love should be our foundation. Not everybody's in it for themselves. That's not my problem. I don't want to get involved. I've heard that so many times. I was walking in the parking lot of a Home Depot one day with a friend of mine, not a close friend, but a guy that I knew. And there was a guy that was knocking his woman around as they were walking. He was hitting her, and I was getting ready to intercede. And my friend said, no, don't do that. Don't get involved, you know. And I backed off because he was my friend. And I thought, well, maybe he knows something. I don't know. And later on, I realized, isn't that just the problem with the world? Go buy your new faucet, or go buy your new thingamajig, your towel rack, and let some woman get beat up, because that's not your concern. The towel rack, now that's a concern. Now that's important. Get that towel rack and make sure it matches your toilet. But the woman in the parking lot, that's no concern of mine. Is that right? So this is why I say that love is so vitally important to humanity, to society, to community, to our lives, to having a world where we are free to pursue happiness, to pursue joy, and we're not slaves that give away every extra penny that we have. We're barely able to work in this money system where we're just striving and struggling. We're struggling to survive, and we're not thriving at all. And that's by far, 74% of all Americans are dissatisfied with their jobs. 74% of people are spending 40 hours a week, most of their waking moments, doing something they don't like to do. You don't think we need love? You don't think we need love for ourselves? You don't think we need to cooperate? You don't think we need to look consciously, be conscious about how this money system works and how it's exploiting us, how there are people that are out on Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street, sitting out there in the snow in a tent overnight, while the people with the power are sipping champagne and looking out the window of their heated apartment at the people that are picketing on the street. Where did that go? How well did that work? Didn't work. No change. No benefit whatsoever. It created some consciousness toward the problem, but then there was no follow-through. No follow-through occurred. So if you don't have love for your neighbor, you don't have love for yourself, if you don't understand what love is, you become completely weak, because love is the most powerful thing there is. Look at when people fall in love. Look at when people love their child and they try to save their child. They're Herculean tasks that can be achieved. People lifting cars off of babies. People walking 1,000 miles. People finding their long lost love, or their children in another continent speaking another language. Love conquers all. And these aren't just sound bites. These aren't just things that are made up. These aren't just things that are just cute in the movies. Love really is that powerful, and when you really understand love, and when you apply it to yourself and to your neighbors and the people you work with and your family and the people that you love and care about, it creates miraculous results. But if you don't know about love, if you don't understand what love is, if you listen to people's ideas about love when it's really about dogma, it's really about punishment, it's really about sex, it's really about something that is vague and weak and irrelevant, that's not love. That's just mislabeling love. That's twisting love. It's perverting love. It's trying to take this word love, hijack it, and mean love means you're going to burn in hell forever. Or love means you're going to give me anything I want. If you loved me, I remember my sister-in-law used to say this to my brother, if you really loved me, you would do so-and-so. That was her twisted way of manipulating him into doing anything that she wanted. Well, it didn't work. It didn't work for them. So, is love worthwhile? Absolutely, love is worthwhile. Should we consider understanding love? Yes, we talk about love to the degree we can understand it. While we spend maybe 20% understanding, thinking about love, the other 80% is about applying love, learning love, using love in our lives. And when I talk about love, I'm talking about how we can define love through when we see it. Like wind. We can't see the air, but we can feel the wind, right? So it's really hard to look at love, because love is kind of this infinite ether that kind of exists everywhere, that we can tap into. Yes, it's in our hearts, but it's in our neighbors' hearts. It's in the smile, the giggle of a child. It's in a beautiful painting. Love is in the harmony of long-term enemies shaking hands and embracing. These are all magical, mystical aspects of love, that we can see love being materialized in the world. And what are other ways we can see love as being materialized? Love as showing up. Like I mentioned, it's compassion, it's respect. There are 68 that are defined so far. Look at the notes below on this video. There's a link there where you can get a free ebook that talks about what love is, and it lists every single, I think it lists, there are a couple new ones. Like one of them is a newer one that we defined recently was love is helpful. And I think that's not in the ebook. I've got to update the ebook. It's a free ebook, doesn't take an email or anything right now, doesn't take any money, doesn't take anything on your part whatsoever, just to take a look and see, hey, what is this guy saying about love? And does that make sense? Does that work for me? Is that really what's going to make a difference in the world or not? It's worth taking a look at, because love can be so incredibly miraculous when we understand it, when we apply it. It has been for me. It has been for me in my life. Love is completely, absolutely the miracle, the real thing, the foundation that I base my life on, that I base every decision when I'm conscious enough to make a decision, when I'm not caught up in some distraction, when I haven't gotten flustered by something and popped out of the love zone and into just kind of a reactive. Happens less and less, but it happens. And then we guide ourselves back to love. But when we are in the love zone, we make every decision. And that's what I work to do. I work to make every decision on love as a foundation, as a center. What would be the compassionate thing to do here? What would be the kind thing? And remember, it's not about self-abuse. It's not about self-sacrifice. That's not love. That, like burning in hell forever, punishing, or what people call tough love, that's not love at all. That's self-abuse. That's masochism. That's martyrdom. And that's not love. Love is loving ourselves as well. There's integrity in love. Love automatically brings about integrity because we're committed to being loving. Part of love is honesty. It's not about deception or manipulation. It's about being open and honest and full disclosure. That's one of the qualities, or those are some of the qualities of love. Being honest, being open, being fully disclosing your intentions, and being good intention. And when we have that, we have integrity. We're a person with integrity. In our relationships, we don't deceive and manipulate and play games with our partners or our kids or our parents or our boss or our co-workers or our neighbors. Automatically, love brings about integrity. When you have integrity in your life, you have a solid world. You build solid, real relationships. And you build solid, real enterprise. You don't make money based upon a scam. You don't do your job based upon deception and a scam. You don't take extra time off. You don't lie to your boss. You don't manipulate. You don't play games. Love automatically creates a person of integrity. It creates then an environment of integrity around that person. So you can see that love isn't just a kiss and a hug and a pat on the head. It's going to be okay. Yeah, we can be compassionate. We can be affectionate. We can be kind. But that's not all love is. Love is also about integrity, and there's strength in that. There's power in that. Strength and power more than anything else is. If you know how to handle a car around a turn, because you know what you're doing, you know how to drive that car, you're not going to lose control. You're not going to wipe out and smash into something and end up, destroying the car, killing yourself. Love is the same way. If you understand what love is, you're able to apply that incredibly infinite power, a whole lot more than the horsepower in a car. This is the infinite power of life. This is what we're all here. This is what we're all about. If you understand and can apply the power of love to your life, you have the capacity to completely control your life, to completely control decisions. Now, things will come up. A surprise will come up. We can't control the world, but we can control our reaction to the world. In that way, we can control our lives. We can make a decision. Do I want to go down this road? What do I want to go down that road? And in that is the power to control your own life and say, oh, I'm going to make a decision today. I don't want to be an accountant anymore. I'm going to be a painter. And I'm not going to be a starving painter. I'm not going to be a struggling painter. I'm going to find a way to do what I want to do, what I love to do, what my passion is, what I really enjoy, and the skill and talent that I want to share with the world. I'm going to find a way to do that and survive and pay my bills and be secure financially and be secure in my life. And you can do that if you decide to do that. If you want to be an artist that's struggling, that's in poverty, that's a choice too if you're conscious about it. We can make these choices if we apply love. We can meet the right people because we're looking for the right people to work with and to create a team or a community with around the goal that they share, that we share together. It's going to be beneficial for them. It's going to be beneficial for us. So when we are in touch with love and we really understand what love is, we're compassionate and understanding to ourselves. We're compassionate and understanding to our environment. And we're living a life that we've chosen because we have the power to do that. And how many people throw in the towel and give up and just say, there's nothing I can do about it? 74% of them working Americans. I don't like what I do, but I have no choice. Baloney. You've got a choice if you understand love. You have complete choice over what you do with your time, your energy, your body, your life, your future. Absolutely, you have complete power. But if you don't understand the power of love, and I'm not the king about love, I'm not the expert, but I do share some ideas, and maybe those ideas are helpful. So look at some of these links and see if any of that's helpful to you. And if you think it's crazy, if you think it doesn't make sense, or you don't understand part of it, or you agree with it, let me know. Because I'm not here to just talk. I'm here to share. And that means interacting with you. That means being helpful to you if I can, or accepting help from you if that's necessary. If I'm off base, there's something you can share with me, something I don't know, or just a suggestion that you have, a recommendation. We're in this together. And love doesn't really exist in isolation. If you're living like a hermit, that's not real love. Real love comes about when we're interacting and cooperating with each other and realizing, wow, this guy's used to using chopsticks and I'm used to using a fork, or that guy's used to using his hands. And I've lived in different countries where people use their hands to eat sloppy gravy dishes, and I learned how to do that. This is in Malaysia. This is the native Malays that do that. Totally acceptable, totally fine. Their hands are clean, the food is clean, and that's just what they do. They don't use utensils. US, we always use forks, knives, spoons, of course. When I was living in China, off and on for about 20 years, chopsticks. Chopsticks for everything. They even use a huge pair of chopsticks for cooking. Instead of like a ladle, or instead of like a big fork or something like that, like we might use in the West. These are differences that come up, and it's beautiful. And it's educational, and it's an opportunity for us to embrace each other's differences and find a way to get along. Instead of saying, Russia's our enemy. They're trying to undermine us. And I want to mention something I mentioned before. Again, this idea about the universe that Einstein brought up. Smart guy. You know, you ever heard that? Einstein is a really smart guy. And one of the things that he said was, we have to make the decision, is the universe kind? I believe the universe is kind because I believe in love, and I believe that everything is made of love. That love is the grand unified theory. It's the foundation. It's the essence of everything. It's everywhere all the time. That's why we can always tap into love. We can always find it. So I believe that the universe is kind. And when you believe that the universe is kind, it creates a kind of foundation in your heart, in your soul, in your thinking, in the machine that you utilize in your brain to go through every day, to achieve your goals, to act, react, function, operate. This is probably, I can't think of a more, except that love is the answer, but I can't think of a more foundational decision or understanding to have than the universe is kind. You're in a place that's okay. Bad stuff happens, yes. But in the end, in the foundation, even though challenges come up, doesn't make the world a bad place. It doesn't mean the universe is evil. The universe is basically kind. And when we work in harmony, when we're at that frequency of love, if we understand these love qualities, then we say, oh yeah, great, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with compassion. There's nothing wrong with understanding. There's nothing wrong with nurturing, being supportive, having good intentions, being honest. All of these qualities, these are actually empowering. And these are actually the foundation of building a world where we get along well, where we're not listening to some sociopath in power that tells us, go kill those guys. And we actually believe them. And we actually support that, both with our hard-earned money and with our bodies and with our children. We go over there, we learn to shoot and kill, we learn to blow up stuff. Wow. It's just mind-boggling once you get in touch with what love really is. And you look out the window at what's going on out there. We can see how love not only changes our own lives, but it can change the world when we practice it, when we share it, when we interact, when we give feedback. Feedback is an incredibly important part of love. I don't understand why you're doing that. You try to say it in a respectful way, even if you're saying, that's wrong. Even if inside you're thinking, wow, that's really wrong, that's really bad what you're doing. Love is skilled at communication, and love is skilled at giving feedback, and love is skilled at saying, wow, I think if you do that, there might be a problem. If you're playing on the train tracks, it might not be so great because the train's coming. Why are you on the tracks? I don't get this. Please help me understand. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the train's going to be over where I'm standing. Maybe I'm making mistakes. So love is open. Love isn't adamant and dogmatic and closed-minded. Love is always learning. So if we want to share something with somebody else, why are you going over there and killing those guys in that other country, people you never met? Why are you dropping bombs on their heads? Why are you supporting that? Well, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a good reason for that. I don't know. I haven't heard of one, but there might be, and I'm interested in hearing it, and I'm interested in understanding it, and I'm interested in learning and growing. Is love worthwhile? You tell me. Is it worthwhile to understand love? Is it worthwhile to have love as a foundation and as the center of your life, as opposed to money, as opposed to power, as opposed to revenge or frustration or a million other things, dogma that people come up with, they say, or nothing? I would say by far most people, although they might hear some philosophical ideas or some religious ideas that they subscribe to, that they agree with, do they have a foundation for that? I would say by far, no. I would guess 90% of the people living on this earth don't really have a foundation to refer back to say, okay, this is my foundation in life. This is what I can refer to. This works every time. Well, for me, that's love. Absolutely. Spending 50 years of my life looking for a worthwhile foundation, being part of half a dozen religions in an intimate way, visiting 50 countries, watching the cultures and studying the cultures and learning the cultures, learning several different languages because I had to while I lived there. What I've come across is the absolute, incredibly overwhelming evidence and truth and power that love is the foundation. Nothing to do with dogma, nothing to do with power. I'm not the authority. That's just what I learned. That's what I found. That's why I'm sharing this. So that's why I think it's a really big deal. Because of all this other stuff, it pales in comparison, not even on the meter. It doesn't even register all these religions that I did, these philosophies that I did. They're not even, and when I see a lot of self-help stuff, yeah, there's some cool stuff out there. There's some, Jay Shetty, I think he's an Indian guy he's from India. And he's got a wife from India. Totally cool dude. And he shares stuff about how to be successful in life, how to be a better person, and how to be happy and things like that. You know what his foundation is? When you listen to him talk, love. All goes back to love. Most of the people that are really happy, really doing well and sharing and are so popular with the things that they're sharing, the essence of that is about love. The essence of so many religions, even religions that say it's okay to go kill somebody in the name of God, that's getting off track. But the essence of that religion, or what made that religion powerful, unique, and strong, and made people join, would be about love at its core. But it kind of gets sidetracked. So that's one of the reasons why I believe in love, because you can see the power of love when you try so many different things like I have. Hi, James. Thanks for dropping by. Anyway, getting ready to wrap it up here because I'm at the 30-minute mark. And just wanted to share this about love today. And I guess it's left me kind of melancholy talking about this and thinking about this. It's just awe-inspiring, the power of love and what the power of love can do in this world and what it can do in our lives. That's what I'm here to share, and that's what this is about. This love is alive every day, same time, half an hour ago I started. So 23 and a half hours from now, I'll be back. I'll be back. If you want to watch or share or comment, you're 100% welcome. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you for being you. I love you. Have a wonderful day or have a wonderful rest. I'll see you in 23 and a half hours.